Senator Wang. The other Senator Wang. Sorry, Senator Wang. Senator Wang.
My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Agriculture, Senator Betts. Over just a year ago, the government promised, as part of their election campaign, that they would provide an additional $100 million to agricultural research and development. Since then, we have seen very little government action on their promises. Will the government clarify their commitment to agricultural research and development instead of putting the system under pressure through constant reviews and parliamentary inquiries?
The Leader of the Government in the Senate, representing the Minister for Agriculture, Senator Betts.
Thank you, Mr. President. And before answering the question, can I congratulate Senator Wang on his first speech delivered on Tuesday night? I think all of his colleagues right around the chamber enjoyed it. Mr. President, Senator Wang is right to ask about the government's commitment of an additional $100 million to agricultural research and development, because that was part of our promise to the agricultural sector at the last election. I can confirm for Senator Wang and the Senate that, in fact, that $100 million extra was in this coalition budget. So, in other words, the very first budget that we have delivered, we have yet again delivered on another election promise. So, Mr. President, it confirms, hopefully for Senator Wang, that we as a government are genuinely concerned to assist one of the great pillars of the Australian economy, namely agriculture, with research and development funding. And we believe, Mr. President, that putting it in our very first budget highlights our commitment to that vitally important sector.
Senator Wang, a supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. President. When will the $100 million funding start flowing to agriculture research?
Minister.
It will start flowing as a result of this year's budget, and I'm not sure whether that part of it has already found its way through the chamber or not, but these projects for research and development are by way of a competitive process. Applications will be opened very shortly, and we then expect, once the decisions are made over the 4 years, for these projects to start being funded. But unlike those opposite, we don't just throw money at a proposal or because we've announced extra funding. We ensure that everything is done in a purposeful manner to ensure that we get best possible value for the Australian taxpayer and the actual purpose for which it was designed, and that is why it will be a competitive process and applications will open very shortly.
Senator Wang, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. President. How much from the $100 million is being diverted to fund the Department of Agriculture's administration of the program?
Minister.
Mr. President, I can inform Senator Wang that on my advice from Mr. Joyce's office, $3.2 million will be used for the administration of the program, and given that my maths is not very good, but given it's $100 million, I can therefore assert that 3.2% of the fund will be used for administration. And that is, if I might say, in contrast to previous administration in this area, as I understand it, under previous Labor and coalition governments, of about 15%. So we are seeking to minimise the administrative cost of this program as much as possible to ensure that the vast bulk of it, and so nearly 97%, can actually go to program delivery, into research, into development, so that we can grow the agricultural sector even further.
Thank you, Minister.